Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on the time of day where you happen to be joining us around the world. Again, I think we're the number one food podcast in Belize, so we appreciate that very much for those of you who are listening to us in Belize. I'm Charlie Arnott with the Center for Food Integrity, and it's great to have you with us for another edition of 3Squares with my co-host Kevin Ryan and Susan Schwale.
Excellent. Susan Schwale, 30 years of CPG food market research, helping companies make better decisions through better research.
I'm Kevin Ryan with Malachite Strategy and Research, helping CPG, food service, and ingredient companies in innovation and strategy at the front end of innovation.
And I don't think I said that I'm with the Center for Food Integrity and Look East. We're dedicated to keeping the food system trustworthy. Kevin, you've got two very exciting guests today who have some interesting products.
Yes, yeah, no, I'm really excited. We have the founders of Absurd Snacks here, Grace and Eli. I will let them introduce themselves, but for those of you that have not seen Absurd Snacks, I absolutely ask you to go out and take a look and grab some. Really great product, a chickpea-based snack product, allergen-free. I don't want to steal the thunder of Eli and Grace, but welcome, Eli and Grace. Great to have you here.
Thank you
Yeah,
guys. Appreciate it. Happy Friday. We're excited to
happy
be on
Friday.
the show.
Indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us. Before we get kicked off and we start asking you lots of questions and then, kind of transition into the quiz, um, if you wouldn't mind giving us a little bit of background. I mean, I gave you a very bad introduction to what the product was and all that kind of stuff, but I mean, you haven't been around for a super long time, but for the amount of time that you've been around, you have really done a lot. So give us a little bit of background on you two and Absurd Snacks.
Awesome. Yeah, we'd be happy to. So we're Grace and Eli. We're the founders of Absurd Snacks. We are based in Richmond, Virginia. We are both Northeasterners turned Southeast, I guess we can claim,
Mm,
because we went to the University of Richmond for undergrad, which is in Richmond, Virginia, and we took a senior year-long class that was called Benchtop Innovations, and it allowed us to create, launch, and sell a packaged food product for
great.
a grade, essentially. It was spearheaded by a tenured professor of marketing and a tenured CPG individual who wanted to give back to his city of Richmond through education. And we were able to launch Absurd Snacks for the first time in 2022 as part of a class project. So if you look up Absurd Snacks online, you'll see the very, very early stages of the packaging, which was created by a freelance Fiverr artist, essentially. Um, and we launched a chickpea-based snack mix that was free from allergens because we have a ton of friends and family with food allergies. Really, the
Mhm.
inspiration for the brand came from a classmate in that class who had severe nut allergies and had gone into anaphylaxis a handful of times from eating
Um,
what was supposed to be a nut-free snack actually had cross-contamination in the supply chain. And
Mm,
so we figured there must be a better solution, creating great products, still extend food safety to our individuals with allergies,
right.
but also just make great tasting snacks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that takes me to my first question, which is you're very close to this idea of like, having done this for a class. What's the biggest difference that you see when you think of like classroom development, and I mean, I've gone through those classes where, you're like, I remember one time we were trying to figure out like, in class, like what's the solution to this? And we're just like, we'll just refrigerate the whole plant. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
for HACCP, we'll just refrigerate the whole plant. Like that's like a whiteboard solution, right? Like a classroom solution where you're not thinking about, what's actually happening and all that kind of stuff. What's the biggest difference that you've found, just in your time about that early classroom work to actually getting stuff out the door and actually getting a product there?
Yeah, well, for starters, when we were in school, we were 16 students,
Yeah.
and following graduation, being in the real world, that quickly whittled down to just Grace and I. And so while we were in the classroom, we were trying to figure out how to delegate work. Obviously, most food startups do not, uh, at their inception, do not have a team of 16, and so
Yeah.
not only being first-time founders, but also understanding how to divide and conquer and be efficient in our workflows and create systems and be on a very, very tight timeline at that. So That being said, we actually did have the opportunity within the classroom to create the MVP and bring it to market. So that was really cool to be able to see it beyond the textbook. But then very quickly after graduation, we had, reality struck of, well, how are we going to fund this thing? And how are we going to have inventory? And where are we going to store it? Where are we going to make it? Who are we going to sell it to? And so having 16 sets of hands seemed a lot more valuable at that point. Once we realized that we were going to have to figure out how to do this, just the two of us. But we've been very fortunate to have a network of both, experienced founders and mentors in Richmond and beyond that have guided us along the way. One thing that our professors in school always stayed true to was if we needed advice on something, he would basically return with, I think you know the answer, figure it out. And we would just have to make a decision, and
Still true.
sometimes we fell and we'd have to get back up stronger. And yeah, I think that gave us a little bit more guts to go into it post grad, where we may not always know what the right answer is. It may not always be perfect, but we can at least give it a try and see what happens, and just try and minimize any potential
Really low
repercussions.
cost.
Yeah, low cost repercussions. So.
Right.
Interesting. So I was very impressed with your website and the fact that you have identified as many potential allergens that I can think of in terms of a free from kind of category, really void of anything except taste and nutrition, which is fantastic. So congratulations on doing that. But when I think about that context, there is growing pressure in snacking to stay away from seed oil, right? That is one of the things that people who are passionate about these types of categories say, no, we need to move away from seed oil for various reasons. So I'm guessing you're getting some pressure on that, and yet sunflower oil makes a lot of sense in terms of your formulation, flavor, shelf life, nutritional standpoint. But how are you managing the pressure to say, yeah, we appreciate that, but we're going to stay true to this because it actually works best for our formulation. It helps us manage our cost of goods. It's a great ingredient. And yet you're going to have those voices who are saying, well, yeah, but you've already said you're going to be free of all these other things. Why don't you add one more to the list? How do you manage that?
That is a super timely question. The conversation around eliminating seed oils in our diet, I think, started around two years ago, probably when that first started to become a thing. And we were very much like, if we're not for something, then we're for nothing. And we decided at the time, like, we need to just focus on our food allergy consumer. Like, make sure our people with nut allergies, gluten sensitivities, people who avoid dairy, like, their needs are 100% met. And that still is, of course, true. Like, we are first and foremost a food allergy free company. And then we quickly realize over time, a lot of our consumers are also people who just love healthy snacks and they're looking for just something a little bit different, a little bit healthier to replace XYZ. And that crossover immediately puts us in front of the majority of the better for you snackers, which are people who don't have
Mm,
allergies.
yeah.
And so we do feel a little bit of that pressure from industry individuals. It hasn't necessarily infiltrated like retail requirements yet. We do know that there are certifications, seed oil free certifications that are not universally adopted, but could potentially in the future. And so at the time, 2 years ago, when that first started becoming a conversation, we were like, oh, we'll wait it out. It's a keto diet where it comes and goes every couple of years. That has not been the case from what we've seen. It's only been a growing pressure. And so we are actively finding solutions to eliminate seed oils from our products. And
Hmm.
in the new product line that will be launching this year will not contain any seed oils. So really it's just our existing product line, which are the snack mixes, but we are making significant steps towards eliminating that ingredient.
Interesting. Thank you. Thank you.
That's fascinating. I could go down a rabbit hole on that. I won't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because one of the things, I mean, you started up a brand and you have to get people to try it, like building trial, right?
hmm
And my understanding is that you did a lot of in-person in-store demos. I think Whole Foods, Kroger, Publix, maybe.
Mhm.
Those are really, really hard to implement and do well. So, like, sounds like you've achieved something that people struggle with. What are your hot tips for successfully demoing in store your new product?
Yeah, so we being in Richmond actually has really worked to our benefit in this regard. There was a recent study done that showed Richmond, Virginia is the #1 city in the country for supporting local business.
Huh.
Mm.
And, it's not the New Yorks or LAs or Chicagos of the country. It's not the CPG hubs that we hear about so often, but it has a really, really strong community. And so by creating relationships not only with the customers, the businesses and retailers that have been so supportive from the start of Absurd and allow us to take a shot on something small, bring us on their shelves and give us the opportunity to engage with their communities, to the consumers that we meet during these demos. Those relationships can go such a long way. And we hear from a lot of founders that we talk to about all of the in-person engagement that we do that, I don't have the time, I don't have the bandwidth, I have so much on my plate. And
Mm.
the to-do list for founders will always be never ending. It grows way faster than you can check things off,
Mhm.
but the time that we spend in stores is invaluable. And we are able to get feedback on our product, which has been really impactful for us. We can hear face to face when we meet someone with an allergy in their household or an allergy or dietary restriction themselves, what products they're currently buying, or even what categories they've always come back to look for options in, which has really guided our innovation strategy. And we can also see sometimes the same faces over and over again, which helps us really garner those relationships. And those like
Mhm.
early adopters of our products just have, are a huge reason of why we still exist and are able to grow. So we take the lessons that we get from being in stores and try and spread them to now other reps that we've brought onto our team to have those same relationships with our community in other cities, because we are only two people and we won't
Right.
sustainably be able to be everywhere all at once, but we're very careful about who we're hiring, where we're able to grow into. And so that relatively tight-knit geographic approach has made it possible for us to continue that small brand feel and that tight-knit community strategy as we start to take on new retailers and grow into new cities.
You really should consider a Michigan version because no one can stop talking to Susan in grocery stores.
They come up
True,
to me.
true.
They
Yeah,
come up
it-
to her.
True.
They give her their entire
I,
life story. She
I,
has given us texts of people's
I,
life stories
yeah.
for
I got
She's
dip
the Oprah
recipe.
of Myers.
I'm going to
Yeah.
start a spin-off. It's Shopping with Susan. I go when the retirement buses pull up. They love me.
There you
Awesome.
go. There you
But I
go.
love that you are also doing research at the same time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
I think it's very cool. I want to go a little deeper into the category decisions that you made as you were talking about people providing feedback. Now, I heard that at your very first Walmart buyer meeting, you had to choose between positioning the product as a granola or a functional snack mix. I would have chosen the safe route and gone, well, it's just a granola, right? This is the place to be. You chose functional snacks to avoid that because the granola category is already really, really crowded. So that's despite the fact that a lot of your early customers were using it as a topper. So there's this is really fascinating because you've got lots of different people using it in lots of different ways. So how do you balance educating the consumer? I mean, getting that feedback, providing education to them on how they should consume this novel bean-based crunch mix while keeping your retail buyers happy with its performance on the shelf where it lives. That seems like a really interesting tension specifically for the product that you've created.
Yeah, so when you walk into Whole Foods, there's like so many granolas, right?
Yeah.
And when we were sitting down with our buyer at the time, and mind you, this was like at a restaurant right outside DC. She like ripped open a bag, poured out a bunch of our snacks on a plate, like before we even got water at the restaurant. And, and so we're like, oh my God, there's like, my name's Grace. Like
She's into it. She's into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and so this was like a big moment, right? And we decided on the functional snack mix category, which truly, I'm not sure we even knew what that was at the time. Like we were still in school, still working on Absurd for this class. And we decided to stay true to that standalone snacking experience because of the one, white space in the market. Like there are other allergy-friendly granolas, whether it's nut-free or dairy-free or something. And so there was a key missing product format in that category. When you look at the snack category that we're in now for Whole Foods, it's a lot of power bites, vegan jerkies, dried fruits, seaweed snacks, vegetable snacks. But like, where's like the alternative Chex Mix? Where's like the just slightly better for you snacking experience that you want to pour on your plate while you're having a glass of wine, while you're, I don't know, taking your kids to soccer and you just want to rip open something a little tastier than a chip. And so we decided to aside on that category because there was just real product innovation potential versus just making like a slightly better granola. But it was a hard decision and that placement really influenced like our pack size strategy, which we got wrong the first time, truly, and had to re-innovate and rethink that. But yeah, we just stuck to our guns. We're like, well, we're so young as a brand. Like, if it doesn't work, we can try something else, and it's totally fine.
So I'm also curious, as students, how did you get a Whole Foods buyer to show up?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, kind of a funny story.
Yeah, it was slight harassment.
It was
That's the
we
best.
we got a name and an email, and we were extremely persistent, following up over and over and over again. And one morning, Grace sends an email to said buyer and says, "Hey, so and so, we're actually going to be up in your area for another event in DC today, just in case you happen to be around." Meanwhile, Grace was at track practice in college. I was in class, or maybe I was sleeping
Yeah,
still,
it was
honestly.
early.
It was early.
It was early.
And 10 minutes later, she responds and says, "Oh, great. How about we meet here for lunch in 2.5 hours?" And we were 2.5 hours
Yeah.
away.
Ah,
So Grace calls me as like, "Eli, we gotta go. We gotta go right now."
Yeah.
She runs out of practice. We hop in the car and we drive up and we literally
Like on the dot.
ran into the
Yeah.
restaurant, found a parking spot, ran to the restaurant like at the minute that we
Yeah.
needed to go
Wow.
there.
that's amazing.
It wasn't
That
like
is
a
a great
one,
story.
it wasn't like a 1 p.m. lunch meeting. It was like pretty sure it was like 11 a.m., which if
Yeah.
you live right off the 95 corridor, like
Yeah.
worst possible time we drive it on 95.
Could be
Right.
disastrous.
That's a
Yeah.
great story.
It is a
They
good
know
story.
this? Does this person know this?
I think so. Well,
They already know now.
No.
Please, they'll know. Yeah.
I don't
maybe
know.
not the piece of us not being there.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
It's all
Well,
right.
So you
It all
mentioned a
ended
couple
well.
thank you, Kathleen.
you mentioned a couple things that like resonated. I mean, you've been in a startup environment, right? And there's that whole fail fast ethos, and that means that you are making decisions very quickly, and something may go out into the marketplace where it's not fully baked, no pun intended. So when you're making those kinds of decisions, can you talk about when something worked well, when it was maybe imperfect? And like, do you have a favorite story around that?
Yeah. So one that comes to mind was when this is probably about 2 years ago now, we had another brand in Richmond that we had been working with to manufacture our products. And they had an extra day or two of line time here and there. And so they would just squeeze us in for little runs. And our products were drastically different. We had to kind of learn with their team on how we're going to make this product and make it work. And their lease was coming up and they weren't able to re-sign in this facility. So we actually looked together for a while to move into a new facility and we had a vision of creating this, co-working allergy-free manufacturing facility. All that to say is it did not end up working out and we were simultaneously looking for contract manufacturers. And long story short, we were very close to signing on with a manufacturer whose MOQs were way too large for our own good, but we needed to keep products on the shelves and we were ready to take the leap of faith. Blessing in disguise, we ended up putting a pin in that relationship and decided to take a 180 and go back to a relationship that was closer to what we were familiar with. We actually rented a facility from another allergy-friendly founder and we hired our own staff and brought it in.
Mhm.
And, we had been a two-person team since the inception of our business. We had never really managed a team. We also, like, we had been in the facility when the products were being manufactured, but we by no means have food safety backgrounds. So we worked with a mentor to come up with a food safety plan and get our own equipment and create the blueprint of what would be our own manufacturing facility. And we always knew that it would be kind of a stopgap until we could figure out something more sustainable. But the first production run that we did, we had hired 6 people, and we said, let's hire more than we think we need because we'll naturally have to work out some kinks. So we go up 4 days. We had scheduled 10-hour production days, and everything that could have went wrong was going wrong. Our oven wasn't delivered in time. Ingredients were stuck at dispatch facilities. We
I've heard a lot.
our bags, we had to go pick up our bags from our packaging supplier, which in our trunks of our cars because they couldn't ship them in time. We couldn't get a actual truck down there. The opening to the facility doors was not big enough to fit a pallet jack, so we actually had to break down pallets and manually carry everything in. The
Wow.
list goes on and on. All that
Yeah.
to say is we had 4 days of production blocked off. We had this facility for 4 days. We were also producing to an order that we had already gotten, and it was due in Richmond the day after we stopped production.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
This is crazy, just like reflecting on
we got a memory hole in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had trays of granola that were coming out burnt. We had the openings on our bags were so small that we couldn't fit our hands in to actually pack them with our gloved hands. And so we had to like jimmy rig scoops to make sure that they were getting in and we were weighing them correctly. Um,
That's probably enough.
that's probably enough.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, yeah. And then
Keep going.
But still you persisted. That's what's
but
amazing. That is
the
That
great.
is
That's the
amazing.
best part of the
And
story.
this turned out well, how?
Well,
You
the best
learned a
part
lot.
is our staff leaves on day 4, and we needed to finish this order. So we stayed up and worked 30 hours straight after 4, 12, 16-hour days and ended up packing our truck and driving
Yeah.
straight to the next morning, straight to where the order was due and dropped it off.
Wow.
The
That's
missing
impressive.
piece here that kind of ties it together is our facility was outside of New York City in New Jersey. So we would commute from Richmond up to New Jersey once a week for every 6 weeks, rent a U-Haul, crash with family that lived down the street, and did that for a year.
Wow.
And but we maintained shelf placement at Whole Foods. We got permanent placement in the region. We had our best sales. Well, I mean, we've grown since, but like to date, that was our best sales year. All and no one knows about it.
Yeah, the entrepreneurial commitment. Congratulations.
Exactly. Yeah.
It
That's
was a
outstanding.
fun but stressful year. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
where are you at now? Before we move to the quiz, where are you, distributed now? You're in Whole Foods. Where else are you?
So we partner with Whole Foods. We're with the Fresh Market. We're region with Kroger. We opened up Amazon about 8 months ago now. So we sell on direct to consumer on our website, Amazon, and then have started getting like good traction in food service. So we partner with vending machine companies. We just onboarded with Vistar.
That's great.
Some food service like college, university, hospitals, micro markets, pantries as well. So we're pretty like a lot of small businesses, pretty omni-channel,
Yeah.
diversified, but retail is still at the helm. We'll see how
Yeah.
that plays out. We have some fun launches later this year, early next year, in retail, but focusing on food service a little bit more this year.
That's
And
great.
Very
you're
cool.
no longer packing yourself?
Correct. We now have an outsourced manufacturing partner with the highest level of food safety possible. They're wonderful people. And the individual who helped us build our food safety plan for our New Jersey facility is actually the CEO of this company that we work with now. So
Very
full
cool.
circle moment.
That's cool.
Congratulations. Congratulations. We are going to transition now to it's time once again for the quiz with Quizmaster Kevin Ryan.
Every time
Hey,
that music
go.
cracks me up every time.
I love it.
So
All
good.
right.
Thank you,
So,
family
Grace and
enough.
Eli, you are welcome to join us for the quiz
Yes.
every time I do a quiz. Try to basically to stump Charlie and Susan here because it gets
Yeah.
harder and harder every time. So this month, I was thinking again, summer. What do I think of summer? I think ice cream. So I was like, okay, the theme is ice cream. So let's start. Question 1. Gift shops and science museums have sold millions of packages, and I remember this as a kid, astronaut ice cream.
Yes.
But the product actually appeared on just one spaceflight menu, Apollo 7 in 1968. It was never used again. Why was it never actually in any space flight? Was it A, the high solids content from the dairy base messed with the spacecraft's water recycling system, if you get what I mean? And it went through the astronauts. It wasn't good.
Whoa.
Was it B, the freeze-dried ice cream shed tiny crumbs that floated through the cabin in zero gravity where they'd be inhaled by astronauts and irritate the eyes? Was it C, the production of the ice cream yielded yeast spores that grew aggressively in the pressurized cabin, creating a danger for the crew? Or was it D, it required a lot of water to rehydrate, to actually eat in zero gravity, and it cut into the crew's limited drinking supply, and they said, we don't need that. So A, B, C, or D?
I'm going
Tiny
with B,
crumbs.
shred crumbs.
Shred
Oh,
crumbs. Susan,
Yeah, shred crumbs.
I was gonna say, I never like to pick what Charlie says.
pick
Don't
what
get
you want.
coverage.
Pick what you want.
Because what Eli and Grace need to know is a lot of times we'll pick all three different things and we still get it wrong.
Yeah.
That's a good
I would
question.
say water to rehydrate.
Okay. Eli and Grace,
I'm going with D.
I was also going to go D.
the water to rehydrate.
Yeah.
It is B. It is Charlie is correct. It is the dry.
Wow.
It is the freeze dried, and this is also the reason why they switched from bread to tortillas in space. You can't get bread anymore. It's the same thing. It's tiny little particles that float around
Oh.
and they get into the system, so you can't have it. So
Because they don't really rehydrate freeze-dried ice cream, right? You're
That's what I
supposed to
just
eat
thought
it
after I said
I
it.
think they can. I think it's possible in zero grav. I think I don't know if it's easier to eat or anything, but yeah. And in fact, though, that one of the astronauts, Walter Cunningham, I was doing the research for this, he said, I don't even think we ever had it. I think it was like put on the menu, but they never ever put it up there. So yeah. Okay, question 2. In 1945, the U.S. Navy spent $1 million on a very unusual piece of equipment to boost troop morale in the Pacific. What was it? Was it A, a customized refrigeration unit installed on destroyers that doubled as soft serve ice cream machines? Was it B, a concrete barge that was towed by tugboats that was converted into a floating ice cream factory? Was it C, an industrial ice cream churn that was bolted onto ships' engines that used the engine differential to freeze ice cream and churn ice cream? Or was it D, a fleet of cargo planes that were filled with dry ice coolers for ice cream airdrops to remote island outposts in the Pacific? So what was done during the war to boost troop morale?
What year was this? I'm sorry.
45.
45. I'm going to go A.
A, destroyer custom refrigeration soft serve. Okay.
I'm gonna go ice cream churn on the engine.
Okay. C, differential. Okay. Grace and Eli.
I'm going with A.
A. Okay. Soft serve.
Sticking with trusty D, although it
B.
wasn't trusty.
Okay.
It's
Eli,
like-
you are correct. It is B.
nice.
Wow.
It is a concrete barge
Nice.
towed by tugboats. Yeah, yeah. And it
That's
was
so
converted
crazy.
into a floating ice cream factory. So they spent $1 million on it, and it could make and store 1,500 tons of frozen meat, frozen ice cream, all that kind of stuff, and it could produce 500 gallons of ice cream per shift.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
it's quite a
lot.
thing.
My father-in-law and his neighbor built a concrete boat. It didn't work well.
No,
I'll just
probably not.
say. Yeah, there was a lot of beer involved.
All right, question 3. Reuben Mattis, a Polish Jewish immigrant, founded Haagen-Dazs in the Bronx in 1960. The name sounds Scandinavian, but it is complete gibberish, and the umlaut doesn't even exist in Danish. So why did he pick a Danish-sounding name? Was it A, he wanted to avoid lingering anti-German sentiment while still implying a Northern European quality to the ice cream? Was it B, he wanted to honor Denmark for its rescue of nearly its entire Jewish population during World War II? Was it C, there was a trade agreement at the time that lowered tariffs on Danish dairy imports, and he wanted consumers and the government to associate his brand with that? Or D, market research showed that American consumers associated Scandinavian names with premium dairy goods?
I'm gonna say trade agreement. I'm not just gonna follow money.
Trade agreement, okay?
I'll
Anyone?
go last. I'll go last.
Okay.
Oh, I'm going with D.
D, as in market research with Scandinavian names. Okay.
My initial reaction was A because of the
Anti-German.
timeline, but I
Yep.
feel like it's more of a trick question. I'm
Mm,
also going to go D.
okay. Market
Yeah.
research with Scandinavian. Is that
3 for
Charlie?
D. 3 for D.
Yeah, you are all incorrect. It is B. He did
I
it.
wanted
He
to
told,
honor Denmark, even though it
yes.
wasn't a Danish word.
Yep. He wanted to do it. So he told Tablet Magazine later on that it was the only country during World War II that saved its entire Jewish population, and so he wanted
Well,
to honor it with a fake
Oh,
Danish name.
yeah, that's a fail. That's a huge fail. You can't honor something with a fake
I
name.
know. I know. Question 4. Ben and Jerry's is famous for loading its ice cream with huge chunks of brownies, cookies, and candy. At the time they launched, this was revolutionary. There really wasn't anything like that out there. Why did they do that? Why did they invent that? Was it A, co-founder Ben Cohen has anosmia, which is a condition that kills his sense of smell and most of his sense of taste, so he relied entirely on texture? Was it B, a jammed inclusion feeder at their first factory forced them to hand cut ingredients into oversized pieces and customers loved it? Was it C, a legal settlement with Haagen-Dazs required them to differentiate by texture rather than by competing on smooth formulations? Or was it D, in the first year of funding, our first year of founding, the company had an amazing bulk deal on broken cookies from a local bakery and realized consumers love the large irregular chunks that they put into their ice cream?
I'm going to go
going
B.
with B.
B,
Yeah,
jammed
jammed
inclusion
machine.
feeder. Okay.
Not that would ever happen to Eli and Grace. That nothing like that would ever happen to
no.
It
them.
would certainly
No.
happen to us.
Okay. I heard Charlie said B. Who else said B? Was that Grace or?
Yep.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
Grace. Eli and Susan?
I was also thinking B
Okay.
in the true spirit of legendary entrepreneurs.
Okay. Susan?
I'm going bulk deal on broken cookies.
All right. You are all incorrect. It's A.
Ah,
Ben Cohen has
Oh,
anosmia.
Really?
really?
He cannot taste a thing. He can't smell anything. And so he
Wow.
pushed really hard on we need to have very big pieces because that's the only thing I enjoy. All right, last question. Dippin'
We're not doing
Dots.
particularly
No, you're not
well.
all doing very well, but that's okay.
Wow.
Dippin' Dots, the
This is
flash
usual.
frozen ice cream beads sold at theme parks all through my childhood, were marketed for years as the ice cream of the future. But the product was never originally meant to be a dessert. What was its inventor actually trying to invent when they invented Dippin' Dots? Was it A, a cryogenic preservation method for transporting donor organ and blood? Was it
Whoa.
B, flash frozen cow feed? The inventor was a microbiologist trying to use liquid nitrogen to make more efficient cattle fodder. Was it C, a way to freeze dry military rations for long durations during space missions? Or was it D, frozen pellets of yogurt cultures for probiotic supplements?
That's too close.
I don't know. I know nothing.
Charlie, Susan, do you guys?
I'm going to go C. Why not? I mean,
I
I'll
was gonna
just
go with C
throw in a
too.
C,
dart.
freeze-dried military rations. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna say because so much comes out, but I can't. We have to spread,
We got to
guys. We have to.
spread. Yeah, we
gotta
got to
spread.
cover the
So,
bases.
Let's diversify.
did anyone say D?
No,
The
the
frozen
probiotic.
I like the
I haven't tried
probiotic
yet.
thing.
Okay, you are all in wrong. It is freeze-dried cow feed. Flash frozen freeze-dried cow feed.
I'll
So-
never
Yes,
eat
it
Dippin'
is.
Dots again.
Yeah, it was originally, yep, he was looking for cryogenics and things like that to mix into cattle feed. So he was trying to figure out how to get better nutrition into cattle feed through freeze drying and through, flash frozen little pellets, and said, you know what, let's pivot. And he ended up, getting the company and selling it as ice cream treat. So
Well, Kevin,
Did
I
they
think you
ever go
won
back?
because you stumped us on everything, I think, but one question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Charlie got one right.
I got one
I think
right.
so
The rest
too.
of us were,
Yeah.
this was a dismal day for the quiz. But
This was bad.
we
This was
will
almost
live to
bad.
fight again another day, just
Just
like
like-
our
just like
favorite
Grace and Eli.
entrepreneurs, Grace
Yes.
and Eli, Absurd Snacks. You can find them on their website. That would be a good place to go, or you can find them on Amazon or a store in that region. Only in the Northeast at this time, or the South, or where are you? Any outside the region?
Mid-Atlantic and growing into the Northeast. And then
Okay.
we have some other fun retailer launches at the top of 2027, but
So
we'll
when you
Cool.
get in
So-
the Great
for
Lakes
now.
region, I'm right outside of Meyer headquarters. I will go into stores and talk to everyone about your product.
You really
She will
will.
indeed. Yeah,
Are
she
you
will indeed.
are you in Grand Rapids?
I'm just outside of Grand Rapids. Yeah.
Okay, we are our manufacturing is up in Grand Rapids, so we're gonna
Really?
have to come visit you when next
There
time we're
you
up.
go.
see that.
There you
Okay,
go.
I'm going to email you separately.
We just made a
Alright.
connection.
I'd
We
love to
just made a
visit.
connection.
Absolutely.
All right, Eli, Grace, thank you so much.
Thank
Susan,
you.
Kevin,
Thank
have a great
you.
4th of July, everybody, and we will catch you again on the July edition of 3Squares. If you want to reach out to us, you can do it by connecting to us on Gmail, 3Squares, the numeral 3squaresmail@gmail.com. If you don't do that, we'll catch you in July. Thanks, everybody. Have a great, safe holiday. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. All right. Thanks. Bye.